friend is coming soon.
Ten levels of consciousness. By conscious reminder. There are 10 levels of consciousness between identifying with, internalizing, your environment or choosing to transform from within by heart. At the first level of consciousness you identify completely with your environment, whether rich or poor, peaceful or warlike, cruel or loving. At the first level of consciousness you accept your social and physical environments as they are, you internalize their values and become them. At first level of consciousness, if you are wealthy you define yourself in terms of your salary, your net worth, your property and rich friends. At first level of consciousness, if you are poor you accept that you'll always be poor. You believe all efforts to become successful will fail. At the first level of consciousness, if you live in a peaceful environment you believe that everyone you know lives among peace and prosperity. At the first level of consciousness, if you live in a war zone, you believe you must constantly fight other people for survival or else die. At the first level of consciousness, if you grow up with parents who physically, sexually, and emotionally abuse you, you in turn abuse others. At first level of consciousness, if you grow up with parents, friends who give you love, support, and affection, you give lots of love to others. At first level of consciousness you have no original thoughts or creativity inside you because you are a complete reflection of your community. At first level of consciousness you cannot adapt to changing environments that operate under different principles. Thus, you become limited. At first level of consciousness you think dreamers and idealists, advocates and change makers, are fools who have lost their grip on reality. You make your transition from the first level of consciousness to the second level of consciousness when you become disillusioned with reality. You begin to enter the second level of consciousness when you realize that the physical and social reality you have internalized is not real. When you enter second level of consciousness you are surprised by your attraction to being alone so you can think instead of being around people. At the second level of consciousness you identify with your physical environment 90% and become aware that you have an internal environment too. At second level of consciousness you define yourself by your family, your friends, your job, and your property, but you glimpse your creativity. At second level of consciousness you are surprised by the fact that money and shopping no longer make you happy but that giving now thrills you. At second level of consciousness you find yourself attracted to books about people instead of books about things, you want to learn about self. At the second level of consciousness you are shocked to realize that if you lose your job today and the money that goes with it, that is okay. At the second level of consciousness you find yourself wanting to listen to a greater variety of people than just always talk about your job. At the second level of consciousness you begin to realize that a big house is just an empty home, lots of awards are just meaningless titles. At the second level of consciousness you realize that sex is not love, money and power are not influence, your job is not who you really are. At the second level of consciousness you face a choice, abandon your temporary physical and social illusions, or transform them from within. When people reach the second level of consciousness some of them quit their jobs, sell their houses, divorce their spouses, go search for truth. When people reach the second level of consciousness, some of them embrace their current physical reality and place it on spiritual foundations. You make the transition from the second level of consciousness to the third level when you decide to take time to develop your mind and heart now. At third level of consciousness you identify with your physical environment 80% and start to feel and think for yourself, creating your heart. At third level of consciousness you become very sensitive to the energies in your body, your heart and your mind. You start cultivating them. At third level of consciousness you allow yourself to cry, feel joy, experience pain, entertain strange thoughts, and see all of life's beauty. At the third level of consciousness you start developing your artistic sensibilities, your empathy, and your need for spiritual connections. At the third level of consciousness you begin to put your time and energy into exploring the different sensations of life, you eat and think. At the third level of consciousness you start to explore your physical appetites, your sexual energies, your creativity, and your intuitions. At the third level of consciousness you can sense when people are happy and sad, you can console them and relate to them through communication. At the third level of consciousness you shift from being merely a colleague at work and a neighbor to being a true friend when people need you. At third level of consciousness you shift from being a well-trained employee, living in your mind, to being a human being living in the heart. At the third level of consciousness you stop reacting to people and events around you. Instead you start acting based on your values and ideas. You make the transition from the third level of consciousness to the fourth level of consciousness when you begin to see that you influence life. You make the transition to the fourth level of consciousness when you realize that training crushes your personality. You develop unique gifts. At the fourth level of consciousness you identify with your environment 70% and start focusing more on your unique spirit, changing who you are. At the fourth level of consciousness you decide what kind of person you want to be regardless of the kind of person you have been or are now. At fourth level of consciousness you decide what your lifestyle will be, what kind of friends you will have, and what resources you will use. At fourth level of consciousness you change your thoughts and emotions to match who you want to be. You practice being mindful and attentive. At the fourth level of consciousness you realize that each second of consciousness counts because every thought you have defines who you are. At the fourth level of consciousness you systematically examine your own thoughts, emphasizing those that are healthy and eliminating the rest. At the fourth level of consciousness you examine your emotions, feeling in full those that give you joy and eliminating those that make you sad. At the fourth level of consciousness you feel your body, choosing to eat only foods that make you healthy, eliminating the rest from your diet. At the fourth level of consciousness you look at your daily routines, you keep the routines that make you happy and change routines that don't. At fourth level of consciousness you study your habits, keep habits that are good and remove bad habits from your life to avoid self-judgments. You make the transition from the fourth level of consciousness to the fifth level of consciousness by discovering your spiritual self within you. You enter the fifth level of consciousness when you successfully maintain your health plus balance. You now have abundant love, energy and ideas. At the fifth level of consciousness you identify with your physical environment 60% and start spending more time with your true spiritual self. At fifth level of consciousness you've entered the fifth dimension. You have expanded from point, to line, to object, to being in time, to being. At the fifth level of consciousness you stop living for other people and you start living for yourself. You offer service based on your spirit. At fifth level of consciousness we spend most of our leisure time meditating, praying, singing, composing, loving, caring, rejoicing, thanking. At fifth level of consciousness you choose to live instead of forcing yourself to live. If you have a job you have a renewed sense of purpose. At the fifth level of consciousness you make compromises with people so that you can be your true, higher self more and your other selves less. At the fifth level of consciousness you stop taking every job that will make you money and start taking only jobs that match your spirituality. At the fifth level of consciousness you apply your abundant love and energy to making a concrete difference in other people's lives every day. At the fifth level of consciousness you generate ideas for turning your spiritual being into physical changes and your love into relationships. At the fifth level of consciousness you get your greatest joys from being around people who enhance your loving energy and natural creativity. At the fifth level of consciousness you dig into yourself deeply in a never-ending quest to know your true, higher self, then manifest reality. You make transition from fifth level of consciousness to sixth level when all physical reality starts running parallel to your spiritual reality. You enter the sixth level of consciousness when you put all of your energies into spiritual development and physical realities derive from you. At the sixth level of consciousness you identify with your physical environment 50% and start living a double life, in the world but not of it. At sixth level of consciousness you are in the world, not of it. You show people the physical realities they know, not the true spirit inside. At 6th level of consciousness you are bridging between spirituality and physical realities, you are a dual ambassador, a great double agent. At 6th level of consciousness you are constantly translating between spirituality and various social and physical realities, creating fusion. At the 6th level of consciousness you spend half the time physically manifesting inspiration, and half the time interpreting spiritual signs. At 6th level of consciousness you are a person of many masks, many social roles and identities, but only one true, higher self, you are love. At the 6th level of consciousness you play many games, you learn the rules of systems, and you adapt to each one so that spirit lives in you. At the 6th level of consciousness you identify the right time, the right place, and the right person to receive a spiritual message from you. At the 6th level of consciousness you meditate while working so that you can mediate people's conflicts and help humanity move toward heaven. At the 6th level of consciousness you have parallel thoughts in your mind, parallel emotions in your heart, because you are a spirit bridge. You make transition from 6th level of consciousness to 7th level when you are no longer a spiritual bridge because everyone is now spiritual. You enter the 7th level of consciousness when you create heaven on earth with each thought, feeling and action every single day of your life. At 7th level of consciousness you identify with your physical environment 40% and start living from your heart, mind, spirit and soul daily. At 7th level of consciousness you live from your heart, mind, spirit, body and soul, all simultaneously, as a complete, balanced human being. At 7th level of consciousness you live from your heart by connecting with people, animals and plants emotionally, communicating with energy. At the 7th level of consciousness you sense what is inside people's hearts, what hurts them the most, what gives them joy, and you heal them. At the 7th level of consciousness you live from your mind by connecting with people psychically, reading their minds, knowing their thoughts. At 7th level of consciousness you see the thoughts that motivate every action and you help people change those thoughts so they have clarity. At 7th level of consciousness you live from your spirit, connecting with people, animals, plants and energies over vast distances and times. At 7th level of consciousness you see people's spiritual paths, their deepest yearnings, and you help them to stay connected to spirituality. At 7th level of consciousness you live from your body, hugging people with warm, overwhelming embraces and touching their emotional centers. At the 7th level of consciousness you live from your soul, knowing intuitively how the human race is evolving and taking actions to help it. You make transition from 7th to 8th level of consciousness when you expand your spirit to connect with all energies around you every second. You enter 8th level of consciousness when you become symbiotically connected to every person you meet, animal you touch, and every vibration. At the 8th level of consciousness you identify with your environment 30% but connect within yourself, with other people, and other energies. At the 8th level of consciousness we realize that all feeling, thought and action is based on greater and lesser degrees of vibrating energy. At the 8th level of consciousness you learn how to change your vibrations to match the vibration of each form of energy you communicate with. At 8th level of consciousness you are able to sense intense vibrations from very far away, you know when people are in pain or feeling loved. At the 8th level of consciousness you communicate with people and other forms of energy through your dreams and spiritual exercises each day. At 8th level of consciousness you know immediately when you must stop everything you are doing to send spiritual messages to someone in need. At 8th level of consciousness you can influence other people's actions with your vibrations, somewhat like the Jedi mind trick in Star Wars. At the 8th level of consciousness you are a servant of spirit, you use material resources as needed to serve the purpose of awakening others. At the 8th level of consciousness you sense the spiritual needs of each energy in your environment, their energies enter you, you enter them. You make transition from 8th to 9th level of consciousness when your thoughts and feelings become so strong that they transform every person. You enter the 9th level of consciousness when you walk into rooms and everyone instantly feels pure love, changing their feelings and being. At 9th level of consciousness you identify with your physical environment 20%. you are becoming pure energy within and you transform others. At 9th level of consciousness you transform people you meet and communicate with, improving their lives by raising their spiritual awareness. At the 9th level of consciousness you develop a powerful presence that penetrates the being of people you know. You overwhelm them with love. At the 9th level of consciousness your mind, heart, body, spirit, and soul are fused together in a constant state of meditation and praying. At 9th level of consciousness you no longer see yourself as mind, heart, body, spirit and soul because you are connected with universal love. At 9th level of consciousness you lead social movements, start religions, transform communities, and raise people's energy levels constantly. At 9th level of consciousness you are a healer, a mystic, a clairvoyant, a psychic, a seer, a prophet, a magician, a fortune teller. Spirit. At the 9th level of consciousness you generate so much love that people and animals make existence effortless. Work is replaced by pleasure. At 9th level of consciousness you have millions of children from thousands of spiritual partners, people you have inspired with pure love. At the 9th level of consciousness you spread love, joy, and peace everywhere, creating peaceful communities wherever you go and ending war. You make transition from 9th to 10th level of consciousness when you no longer have to be in a place for your loving existence to be enjoyed. You enter the 10th level of consciousness when you dream and people's lives change, you talk and people act, you write and the world changes. At 10th level of consciousness you identify with your physical environment 10%. Your spirit absorbs so much that you feel, act through others. At 10th level of consciousness you can perform seemingly amazing feats of physical and mental activities because love makes you superhuman. At 10th level of consciousness you live in your own spiritual universe, you move and everyone moves with you. You accelerate your evolution. At the 10th level of consciousness your total being integrates with other people to form a collective spirit. When you act together. At the 10th level of consciousness you communicate with all beings, all energies, on all levels of consciousness simultaneously in pure form. At the 10th level of consciousness your total being absorbs the universe, focusing infinite divine power on all things around you to create. At the 10th level of consciousness you become God's magnifying glass, wherever your attention focuses you spread the fire of inner lightning. At the 10th level of consciousness you are not only a constant enhanced version of yourself, you enhance other people with your loving mind. At the 10th level of consciousness you project so much energy that the foolish become wise, the poor feel rich, the hungry feel full inside. At the 10th level of consciousness you can share your love with all sentient beings on earth, from those in poverty to the rich and powerful. At 10th level of consciousness you become aware of your spiritual mission on earth, you focus on completing your mission, then transcending. Once you reach the 10th level of consciousness you can stay connected with the 10% of your physical environment, or you can leave and travel. At the 10th level of consciousness you complete your soul's purpose for being in physical form. You confront a choice, leave Earth, or stay. At 10th level of consciousness, if you decide to leave Earth you enter the first level of cosmic being, if you decide to stay you guide spirit.
Please like us and share with your social media.
Please subscribe and click the bell to be notified of our new videos.
Remember to check out our playlist for important intel you may have missed.
Be sure to enter our subscriber appreciation $100 monthly giveaway. The link is in our description.
And visit our sister channel. Event is coming soon. For additional intel and information, stay tuned. Victory of the Light.